Hello everyone, Brian here today with another YouTube video on Dead by Daylight. And today I want to make a video about my balance philosophy for Dead by Daylight. This is something I've been thinking about doing for a while now. Just because I've been making a lot of Twitter/X posts recently about balance in Dead by Daylight, things that should or should not be changed, things that are problematic or not problematic, and there's a lot of responses to them, mostly positive, but there's also a lot of people that are missing the point when they engage with me in discussions about balance and changes in Dead by Daylight. So the main example that I'm thinking of is recently I was talking about Spirit Fury. Spirit Fury is getting nerfed soon to the point where it only activates from regular killer break actions on pallets. You can't charge it anymore with add-ons that break pallets, specifically Legion's Iridescent button. Now, in my opinion, I think this is a good thing, and I tweeted something to the effect of, we're not going to miss this, it's not interactive, it's not fun, and this interaction should go. And there are a lot of people in the comments that seem to think that just because something isn't strong means that it shouldn't be changed in Dead by Daylight. Strong in the sense of winning games, killing all 4 survivors, etc. So that's what prompted me to make this video, because my balance philosophy in Dead by Daylight is a lot more complicated than that. Well, it's not actually that complicated once I explain it to you, but it's a lot different than strong equals bad, weak equals good, which is, I think, the logic that a lot of people operate on and assume that others operate on as well. So, to get right into it here, there are 3 criteria that kind of work together in a formula to form my, like a calculation of my idea of balance in Dead by Daylight. The first 2 are very simple, and that is how strong something is in Dead by Daylight. At the, bottom end of strong, you've got things like the Trapper, like the Ghostface. These are things in Dead by Daylight that are either almost useless, or when you use them, the game is basically in the survivor's hands, out of your control. You can play as well as you want with these... Well, wait, I'm talking about the strong stuff here. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, let's talk about weak instead, because I've basically already done it. When you play with weak things in Dead by Daylight, the game is basically out of your control. You can play as well as you want on Gutted Skull Merchant, Ghostface, things like this. The game is technically out of your hands as long as the survivors are good enough. These killers and things, they usually get value or get wins based on mistakes from the survivors, and if the survivors aren't making a copious amount of mistakes, it feels very, very weak. So these are what weak things are in Dead by Daylight. Strong things in Dead by Daylight give the players agency, whether it's Dead Hard on Survivor, allowing you to add another health state to your chase, or whether it's playing the Blight, who has the agency to outplay basically any tile that he wants in the game except for a pre-dropped shack or a god pallet. These things are strong. Strength in Dead by Daylight, as I just said, comes down to having agency in many different situations, possible game plans that can all lead to victory, different choices, things that you can do to win against strong play from the other side. If you're going to play something like, here's an example, Bubba. You can be a really amazing Bubba, but if you come up against a coordinated survivor team on Discord who's got 4 Dead Hard, 4 Decisive Strike, Shoulder the Burden, Babysitter, Deliverance, there's not really a lot you can do as Bubba. You can be the most perfect Bubba chase player in the world. Those survivors are not going to magically all group up for you and allow you to 4 down them with Infectious Fright. That's kind of what strength is in Dead by Daylight, in my opinion. The ability to come up against something like that and have options to outplay and still win. So, strong, weak, these 2 things kind of play off of each other in Dead by Daylight, but the third part of the formula is the most important for me, and that is interactivity. Interactivity means that both sides have a chance to outplay each other and a branching path of decisions that they can make in chase depending on what the other side is doing. Let me give you some good examples of interactivity in Dead by Daylight. Wesker. This is a really well-loved killer, fun in chase, and very interactive. You have a clear cue for him using his power. You know what he's going to do when he uses his power. He's going to dash twice in 2 straight lines. And as the survivor, you, based on where you are on the map, have options. You can fake a window. You can flare out to the side to try to get him to overshoot. You can try to stop yourself from getting thrown by pathing into an object when you know you're going to get hit anyways, but you want to prevent the throw. There are many different branching situations in Chase with a Wesker. Hillbilly, same thing. Whether or not he has overdrive. Is he going to curve, or is he going to expect that I'll dodge the curve and go wide? Does he have low pro chains? Is overdrive about to come up and I need to play like it's up even though it's not just yet? Is he going to get it during this chainsaw? Do I need to crouch tech him and find some sort of elevation? The new Vecna, Henry. This guy is the pinnacle of interactivity. Dodging, juking, running back, doubling back, going wide on tiles, or holding tiles close if he's guessing that you're going to go wide. These are killers that are extremely interactive. There are so many different things that you can do. Your game plan changes mid-chase, and making the correct decisions with those mid-chase changes will lead you to surviving, and that's a really nice feedback to get on Survivor. And it's the same thing for Killer. Dead Hard. It's a very interactive Survivor perk now. It wasn't before when it just gave invincibility frames, but now half a second of endurance, I should say, that's pretty interactive. Killers can bait it out. They know when it's going to happen. You even look like you're going to do it when you look behind you, so the killers can really tell when it's going to happen. They can fake their power. They can get up behind you and wait for you to use it. There are only a few situations now where Dead Hard isn't interactive, and that's when you have the perfect amount of distance to a pallet and an M1 killer has to lunge at you to get the hit. But anyways, contrast that with something on Survivor that's not interactive. Sprint Burst. Pre-running with Sprint Burst is just choosing not to interact with the killer for as long as humanly possible. When the killer suspects that you have Sprint Burst, what can they do? Nothing? Just watch you run away every time? Or maybe switch to Kaneki? Yeah, Sprint Burst is an extremely uninteractive Survivor perk, whereas Dead Hard, which spawns multiple mind games based on whether or not it's in play, that's interaction on Survivor. So being able to make different reads and outplays is the core of what makes Dead by Daylight fun. When that feeling is absent, your chases on both sides feel like they're a scripted narrative where your choices don't matter. This is bad. Another great example of this is Old Chucky, manual scamper Chucky. Drop the pallet, he's just going to go right under and M1 me. Don't drop the pallet, he's going to fly at me at 100 miles per hour with slice and dice and rat poison to see my aura the entire time. Rest in peace if you remember old manual scamper Chucky. This was not interactive because your chases did not feel like they were in your control. It was scripted. I drop the pallet, he goes under it and M1s me. I don't drop the pallet, I get hit by his aura dash that is basically undodgeable on release. So both of the options lead to you getting hit. That leads to uninteractive and boring Survivor gameplay. Balance in Dead by Daylight, in my opinion, is a formula of strength, weakness, and interactivity. So moving on, raw strength with interactivity does sometimes merit changes. Usually, this is the case with the Blight. He's technically interactive, but usually much too strong for the average survivor in a lot of situations. Being able to outplay basically any dropped pallet tile as long as you have enough hours on the killer and a high enough DPI on your mouse, that's not exactly interactive for most survivors, even if it is the best thing since sliced bread for competitive tournament players. So this is why Blight gets his add-ons nerfed and should probably lose rush tokens on breaking a pallet. He is technically interactive, his chase is adrenaline pumping, but at the very highest level of his skill, it becomes a little bit less fun. Here is the meat of the video. Weak things in Dead by Daylight can still be problematic due to a lack of interactivity and need changes. Things like End Fury with Legion's Iridescent Button. Drop the pallet, you pre-drop the pallet, Legion charges Spirit Fury for free and spends the rest of the game face-tanking pallets. Skull Merchant with old 2 beams and haste mid-chase. Did you see that she was getting like 10% haste mid-chase because your teammate accidentally ran into a drone? No, but she's going to get you eventually because there's like beams everywhere and she's randomly speeding up while you're slowing down. Didn't really feel good to play against. Chasing with Trickster in the open. Does that feel fun? What exactly do you do there? Old Myers vault builds, also weak, but still uninteractive. Trapper, putting you in the basement and trapping the entire shack with Bloody Coil. These are things that have basically zero interactivity from the survivor side when they happen. That vault build Myers, he probably only got 1 kill because he had no gen regression. But he did make your single chase with him mind-numbingly boring. That Trapper that put you in the basement will probably get 3 outed when your smart teammates simply ignore the basement and do gens instead. But was that a fun game? I don't think so. Old Skull Merchant randomly hasting for 10% mid-chase because she kept shitting out drones at pallets and your random Kate Denson walked into a scan line across the map. Was it strong? No, she's probably getting 2 outed and Skull Merchant was like B- tier at her peak. But was the gameplay fun? Also no. This brings us to Enduring Spirit Fury. This combo rewards the killer for misplaying and forces survivors to play in the most boring manner possible, pre-dropping. Going for the stun is a high-risk, high-reward, fun maneuver in chase, and Enduring Spirit Fury takes this interaction and flushes it down the toilet, leaving only one option for an optimal chase. Is Enduring Spirit Fury strong? Hell no. It's basically only used on D-tier killers as a replacement for chase power. Is it fun for both sides though? Also hell no. Things can be weak and problematic, needing changes at the same time. Strong things with low or no interactivity, though, are the highest priority targets for nerfs. Think about things like Dracula's Medusa's Hair add-on, where every single chase with Dracula just resulted in him teleporting to the nearest window with bat form, hindering you for a whopping 15% and then M1ing you. Was that interactive? No, but it was also on a strong killer, so it got nerfed very quickly. Release Crossu's auto-aim projectile and then pre-nerf head form pallet sliding. Was that interactive? No, there were basically no situations where you could dodge that except for pre-dropping Shack, so she quickly got nerfed. Sadako's Condemn Slug playstyle. Was that interactive? Not really, unless you were in a 4-man team. Spirit's Fully Silent Phase add-on from her release, the Prayer Beads. Not everybody might remember this one. I certainly wasn't playing when it happened, but all of the old DVD heads tell me about it all the time. Was that interactive? I mean, sure, it was fun for the Spirit. It was really strong, but what were the survivors exactly supposed to do there? It removed all of their choices in chase, made them feel like it didn't matter, and they just kind of go down with just guesswork from the survivor side. Is that fun? Not really. But here's a current example. Nurse with full aura rating builds. This is probably my most hated thing in all of Dead by Daylight since I started playing. It's the only thing that will actually get me a little bit heated and personally insulting when I play against it. Because if you think about the nurse, she's a very fun killer to go against the more you get experience in Dead by Daylight. Her counterplay is super unique and it revolves around breaking line of sight and pathing strangely in ways that she's not going to expect. You really get to turn everything that you know about Chase upside down when you play against the nurse, and it's really satisfying to do well. Now the nurse equips Nowhere to Hide and Predator, and just gets to see you permanently while charging her blinks. All of the counterplay that this objectively extremely strong killer had is flushed down the toilet and replaced with see red aura, click red aura, get free down. Like, is that fun? For the nurse? Really? You're just teleporting to the bright red light and clicking your mouse button? Like, did you do something there? Was that skillful? I don't think so. Was it fun for the survivor? Of course not. She sees your aura, you don't really know that unless you're running object or distortion, and then you just die instantly, because no matter what kind of cool counterplay you can take against the nurse, it doesn't matter if she just sees you highlighted in red on her screen. So this is the biggest example in Dead by Daylight today of a zero interaction thing on a strong killer. But mainly, I just wanted to fully explain what my philosophy is for balance and interaction in Dead by Daylight. I hope I was able to do that well. Thank you for watching. Feel free to discuss in the comments if you want. I always respond, and I will see you guys later.